Hello, soulpath family. Welcome to this week's Astro Energy Report and 3-card tarot spread. This one comes with a warning, okay? Maybe a massive trigger warning, but something has been brewing inside me for a very long time. And it's been kind of like foggy, like it's been hard for me to grasp it, but it's coalesced into something very clear. And I'm going to speak to it. It's very heretical. It's possibly going to alienate a whole bunch of you, or maybe it'll magnetize you even more into my field. I have no idea. But what I do know is I'm really over editing and censoring myself to try to avoid feeling cast away or being exiled out of the tribe. I've always really fashioned myself out of being somebody who can see things from multiple point of views and who can really understand opposing perspectives. And I have a lot of patience and tolerance for that sort of thing. And I think it's a valuable, you see this going on? It's a valuable skill set, to be able to see things from multiple points of view and to not necessarily sell your perspective to a given group. So I'm not trying to sell this perspective. What I am doing is I'm fully expressing it, and I'm going to let you self-organize. You're either going to align with this or you're going to really disagree with it, and that's totally fine. The thing about it and why I'm going to launch into this unholy rant has to do with the one astrological event that I want to focus on that happened on the 25th. And that was when Uranus moved out of Taurus and went into Gemini. And for me, this is moving out of my 9th house into my 10th house. And so this is about my philosophies. This is about my worldview. This is about the programming that I received as a child. And not only in my home, though that's certainly part of it, but also globally. Like this is, for me, moving out of the 9th house is this accelerated, intensified experience of having your belief systems, because that's the 9th house, really squeezed and really invited into what is really true. So if you're a Virgo rising, this is going to apply to you as well. Not necessarily the belief itself, but that your worldview, that your belief set, that your culture that you were born into has probably been you've been questioning it, that there's been some growth opportunities around it that right before the 25th would have really been getting a squeeze. And now that it's we've transitioned over and we're starting into, so now it's not just ingress, we have now moved into Gemini. Uranus is now in Gemini, and it is the last of the outer planets, by the way, that to change signs. So now every single outer planet has changed signs from where it's been, for some of them for just a couple of years, some of them for decades. This is huge for everyone, regardless of what your rising sign is. And if you don't know, you can DM me and I'll teach you how to find it. But depending on where it falls into your chart, that is the area of your life that for the next 7 years is getting a complete revisit. For me and mine, it's my philosophy about life. So this is the rant today. Take it or leave it. Because at the end of the day, I so believe in individuality. I so believe in sovereignty. My entire practice that I have here is to bring you into your own self-awareness, your own sovereign self, to notice and pay attention to the belief systems that you were born into and to question those. And don't substitute your own wisdom with mine. Like if we are having a reading or you're listening to these videos and something is not landing for you, that's great. That's such valuable information for you about where you do stand and what is true for you. And that should always take precedence over me or any other authority figure or person that you're reading or listening to or using, as some sort of mentorship. You are your own guru. And I cannot state this enough. And this is where we're going to start getting into where it gets a little bit of a rub, because the thing that's been fuzzy for years, but bothering me that I couldn't quite identify, but I finally have, is the model around when something, an institution, and this is where it's going to get sideways, the church in particular, and how it's modeled after patriarchy. So these two, I'm conflating them deliberately. invents the problem that it sells itself as the solution to. And what I mean by that is the problem of your inherent sinfulness, this idea that you are weak, that you are inherently broken, that at your core there is a wrongness. But don't worry, because the church has the solution for you. This outer male deity who is apparently the boss of everything will overlook your pathetic wretchedness if you follow the rules and go along to get along and subjugate your own needs and wants, your own desire. This religion, as I've learned it, and how many of the people that are in my circle that I would call friends that are still in it are taught to vilify the body, to see emotions as suspect, to recognize that anything that is the feminine is inherently wrong. The whole story of Eve being the fall of the reason for the fall of humankind, like that isn't just a silly little story. This is creating a belief system around the inherent fallibility and wrongness of the feminine, not just women, but the feminine in each one of us. That somehow our emotional state, that our desire, that our wildness is inherently wrong and fundamentally broken, and that we should be continuously trying to transcend the human body. I am so over this. I am seeing that storyline everywhere. I don't know if you followed the whole COVID thing, but again, I felt like there was a problem that was presented. It was invented in many ways, but don't worry, we have the solution. Here is our vaccine. Don't worry, it's completely safe and effective, even though it absolutely wasn't. Oh, you don't want to go along and do what you're told? Well, we'll coerce you by making sure that you can't go to work, you can't travel, you can't see your loved ones if you don't behave. Not unlike the church. Oh, you don't want to follow our rules? Then you're going to hell for eternal damnation. This model is so fucked, and I'm so angry about it. And what you're going to see in this week's card reading is how that's reflected, that when you are feeling in your world something that is agitated, and I posit that each and every one of you has some area in your life that has been feeling a squeeze, that has been feeling frustrated, that there's aliveness, there's agitation, there's arousal. And I mean aroused as an elevated emotional state. I don't mean sexually aroused. That area of your life is, now that Uranus has moved into Gemini, it's like, okay, it's go time. It's time to stop thinking about this. It's time to stop living in a fuzzy, procrastinating land of overwhelm. And it's time to actually start standing for what you believe in and take action steps towards what you believe in. And what I believe in is our personal sovereignty. I believe that it is not our job to be moralized externally and then to try to cut off parts of ourselves to fit into some externalized authority's idea about rightness and wrongness. I think inherent in the human genome is a collectiveness, a desire to be in community, a desire to serve the group, a desire to. We don't need to be taught morals and ethics. It's part of our inherent DNA. That's what I am experiencing. And it's actually all this external distortion about morals and ethics that have been causing all the fuck up. And so much of it is because it's been modeled after these things that take something effective and true and real. We're all in this together, for example, and then distort it into a controlling tool. They take something true. Oh, and that's the other thing. I just said it. This model of they are doing this and they are doing that. It's still a victim consciousness that I'm finding that I just have no patience with anymore. Because, well, it may be true that they, for example, mandated that everybody get a vaccine or else, there was still authoritative power about how each and every one of us was going to show up under that regime. They might be spraying toxins in the sky to modify the weather or to block out the sun, whether that's true or not. Let's say it is true. Doesn't mean that you can't still plant your own food or work together to create something in your immediate environment that feels more healthy, or band together and create an environment that feels safer. Like the habit of theying is this way of remaining in a victim state. And I'm just like, I'm over it. I want to take this radical adulting. So, religion, most religions, certainly any patriarchal based religion, subscribes to this parent child model that I'm over it. So, parent being the clergy or God in this case, and the child being you. And I'm saying it's time to step into adult sovereignty. It's time for us to step into, I am in charge of my life. Are there external circumstances that I have to navigate, that I have to work within? Are there like limitations and constraints that are real? You know, I'm not just making them up in my head. Sure, yes, but they aren't, I posit, as limiting as you think they are. And that many of those limiting constraints can, in fact, become springboards for creative solutions. And that it's time that we stop blaming them, that we stop subscribing to a God who hates us and only tolerates us because we murdered his son for him. Like, think about this fucking story. Like, really think about it. I have the same level of like wanting to scream as I did during COVID when I was tracking the numbers and I could see that there wasn't this excess of crazy town mortality, that there wasn't these enormous waves of tens of thousands of people suddenly dropping dead, but that was the model that they were using to justify their behavior. It's the same thing. Do we have flaws and faults? You know, do we screw up? Can we be selfish? Yes. But are we fundamentally at our soul level fucking sinners? No. So to take something real, a limitation, a fact that we make errors in judgment, and then wholesale turn that into sin that will make you damned for all of eternity is just as ridiculous as saying that there's an increase in some people getting a respiratory disease, but treating it as though the entire world has to shut down to deal with it. The anger that I felt of like the emperor's new clothes, and how many people just went around with like like, yep, all the news says so, so I guess it must be true, and blindly following it. The part that made me so mad was this like, please you go, and then whining about the outcome of that. It's like, take your power back. You have so much power that is getting fed into the they system, that all you need to do is stop going along to get along. Start questioning the models that we live in. Stop following the rules, because a sufficient amount of people, if they just don't comply, there's no violence needed and there's no pushback needed. You just move towards what you want. It's not about continuing to play out the us versus them paradigm. And I mean, part of me is terrified that I'm going to lose friends and family over this, because I'm voicing it and I am saying like, I don't have capacity anymore to do the us versus them conversation. I just want to start building the world that I want to live in. And I want, because of the bulk of all of the focus going on that, that everything else that isn't that just sort of shrivels up and dies from lack of awareness, lack of attention. It's time in my world to step into a true sense of authority and self-sovereignty that is sourced from within, that isn't a borrowed storyline or a conditioning that was given to me. We were all conditioned. That's just the nature of growing up in a community. Like, our culture conditions us, but it is, and that whatever that conditioning is, isn't your fault. It isn't your responsibility. You can't go back in time as a child and have critical thinking to discern whether there was validity in what was being shared or not. But where there is power is today. As an adult, you get to review these storylines and these basic tenets that you were handed and question them. And you may choose to keep them. If they nurture you, if they nourish you, if you feel empowered, and I don't mean empowered because you identify as being in an in group, because it isn't actually empowering to have an in group and an out group. I know initially it feels like it, but it isn't. It's a false sense of power. And I challenge that. But regardless, take inventory of what you believe in, what you stand for, what you want to pour your resources into, and become a wildly committed advocate for what you stand for and take action towards that. And if something makes you feel small, if something tells you you are broken at a fundamental level, I say fuck that. I say fuck that. And if something tells you that you are broken at a fundamental level, that nature is ultimately against you and wants to beat you up or eat you or kill you, but don't worry because they have the solution to nature's hate for you, I say question the shit out of that. So that's my rant. That's all I'm doing on that one. Let me know what you think. I'm not even doing a meditation today because I'm too jacked up about it, but we're going to jump into the cards. Here's your card selection: one, two, or three. One, two, three. Card one, if this was your selection, this is what you've got: the Moon card. I love this. It's about following your instincts. This is very much about your intuition. It's an affirmation that you have one, that you have a connection to it, and that something is bubbling up that is from that deep intuitive true place, the place that isn't conditioned, the place that is your true nature, your wildness, your real sovereign self. It's bubbling up. What is it? What truth of yours is ready to be fully embodied, to be fully advocated for, to be stepped into without flinching, without softening it, without sugarcoating it? What is it that you and your intuition know is true and that you need to start taking action on? If you've been feeling loony, so I have been feeling loony. I've been feeling like, what in the actual fuck? How are people not seeing this? It's not about what people are not seeing, right? Because there again was my trying to give away that, like, well, if I can convince everyone to follow my perspective, then I can stop feeling crazy. When in point of fact, it's about me landing in my body, landing in what's true for me, and recognizing that it isn't my job to argue it. It's not my job to sell it, but it is my job to stand fully and unapologetically and crystal clear in it and allow the world to self-organize around that. If this was your card, that Moon card is saying, what is your intuition telling you is your deepest sovereign truth? And can you stand in it? Will you allow that there might be some shift and transition that happens? For many people, this could be falling into their work, how they show up in work. Maybe they're recognizing, because Taurus, which is what Uranus was in, is all about stability and structures. It's about tradition and moving slow. So in some area, whether it's your health or your money or your relationships or your education or your communication, or I mean, it could be a myriad of things. There's 12 different things, areas of life. And in each one of those houses, there's a multitude of stuff that it could fall into. Where have you been feeling excessively like, why isn't everyone else doing this? Like, how is no one else seeing this? Whatever that is, it's asking for you to see it, for you to become a crystal clear advocate for it, and to begin to speak and live and do and serve it in a very unequivocal way. Okay, moving on. Next, card number two. If this was your selection, you got the Page of Cups. I love him. He's so whimsical. He's brought his little pet fish with him in a cup, like he's just breaking the rules. Good for him. He's all about creativity and communication. This is about sort of like third house stuff. So communication, videos, writing, close to home travel, your siblings, knowledge that you use day to day. So not big philosophy, but like daily knowledge, daily information. Where are you being called into speaking about that? Or maybe you're supposed to make a new blog about that. Or maybe you're just being invited, like I'm doing right now, to make a video about something that's really near and dear to you that you are so for. What are you so for? And can you bring in playfulness and whimsy and childlike willingness to experiment. That's like the energy of this card. So I invite you into that. Feel free to share in the comment below what might be coming up for you around that. If you want a reading, you know where to find me. Okay, last but not least, here we go. Card 3, the Ace of Pentacles reversed. This is asking, are you procrastinating? Because when it's upright, it's like doing the thing. It's new ideas, it's new starts, it's pentacles, so it's like a tangible thing. Reverse is asking, are you just daydreaming? Because it's time to act on it. Do the thing. Pentacles is doing the thing. Start. Stop procrastinating. Like I've been sitting on this message for a while because I've been afraid to share it. But today's the day. Today's the day to start whatever the thing is that you are so emboldened and impassioned about. And even if you patently disagree with what I just said, you can still take from my passion, like as a model or as an example, like be passionate. Welcome your passion back into your life and act on it. Show yourself you mean it when you tell yourself you love you and you're here for you and that you believe you have a gift, and start offering it to the world. Like unflinchingly, bring your gift to the world, share it. We need it. We are moving out. As you can see, all of our systems are collapsing. And I guess this will be our nugget of love at the end. All of the old systems are collapsing. Our old education system, the old economic system, the old model, like, you know, go to school, get your degree, find your spouse, make some money, buy a house, buy a bigger house, have some kids, save up your money, work at a job you hate, but at least you're saving money, and then retire and live out the last few years of your life doing what you really want. That model doesn't work. The job that you're going to get an education for today in 3 or 4 or 5 years is not even going to exist because technology is moving so fast. That model is completely obsolete. Now, in the chaos, in the crazy, instead of relying on someone else's model of reality, on someone else's model of how to be good, ergo happy, start listening to yours. What do you specifically need so that you can feel supported, safe, because you've got to have your roots? And then what kind of freedom and like community support do you need to grow and produce fruits to give back to the community? What are your gifts? This is the model that we need to start subscribing to. And maybe it becomes obsolete at some point along the way too. But right now, it is what's current. What is your gift? What are you passionate about? What is the thing or things that you just fucking love? And go get busy doing them. Find a way to monetize it. Find a way to trade it with other people. Find a way to offer it and receive something in exchange, because breathing, inhale and exhale, equally is important. Giving and receiving equally is important. We cannot give from an empty cup. I love cleaning. Like I actually fucking love cleaning. I have a bizarre eye for detail. So I've added that to my roster of things that I offer, and I get paid to do it. And it makes sense. It's a gift that's needed. I love interior decorating and design. I fucking love it. I could do it all day. So I offer it out for people. Hey, you're not so good at it, or you have enough other things on your mind that this isn't your wheelhouse, but you can so understand the value of having a sanctuary that feels nurturing and supporting and inspiring. Yay. Oh, you're moving and you need to depersonalize, but you have so many decisions to make. You're not sure what stuff should stay and what should get packed. Right over here, these are my skill sets. And that's on that side, the sanctuary support. On this side, the internal sanctuary is where soulpath comes in. And this is everything to do with sovereignty, with learning how to declutter the noise, the mental noise of belief systems that no longer serve you, if they ever did, of your own internalized patriarchy, getting rid of that. And so that you can find your real wild self. I mean, I spent 4 years living this wildly unconventional life so that I could find my edges. I learned what it was like to give myself permission to just go way off the rails. I went almost like, Persephone's journey underground into Hades for 4 years and came back wiser, unafraid of the dark, unafraid of the deep, unafraid of the taboo. Because In order, in my worldview, to move forward as healthy and whole beings, we need to have access to our light and to our darkness, and to recognize that there's both gifts and warnings in both of them. And that it isn't warnings externally telling you about what's bad, it's touching in with your own limits. I quit drinking because my body told me it was done, not because somebody told me I had to. I was listening to my own intuition, and I hadn't been, because I'd been getting that message from myself for a while. But I finally, for no particular reason except I finally decided to do it, made that step into sobriety. And that has been such an enormous catalyst for me to really tap in to an intuition I've always had some connection with, but now is so much deeper and clearer and easier to tap into. And astrologically speaking, is so supportive of all of us stepping into our deeper truth. All of us are completing a 7-year cycle right now and beginning a new one. And if you want help to figure out what area of your life that's happening in, if you just need kind of almost an echo chamber to bolster your own voice, you can hear yourself with more clarity, I'd love to hold space for that. If you think that I'm being radically, dangerously inappropriate by telling people to stop listening to religion and government, let me know. You're welcome to your opinion, right? But I'm done self mitigating. I'm done self editing. And I really am inviting others to do the same. Don't be mean. This isn't about being rude. I'm not telling everyone that, they're wrong. What I'm saying is what's right for me. And that's the difference. This is the approach. This is how boundaries work. It's about identifying and expressing your boundaries and allow other people to self-organize around them. You can't make them honor your boundaries, but you can be very clear about what is yours. And when they aren't respected, respect yourself enough to move. So it's the same thing. How can I teach about respect if I disrespect my own truth and my own sovereignty by trying to get along, to go along, to get along, to essentially use being nice and all the arguments around that to self-abandon. So this is what I'm done. I'm not doing this, and I'm going to stand in the public eye, my 10th house, which is what Uranus has moved into. Here it is. Here's the truth of what I actually believe. And I will probably just riff on this more and more as time goes on and get more and more clear about it, because I'm so angry. And that anger is such a beautiful fuel when it's channeled for what you want to build. And so that's what I am honoring. That's what I'm committing to. And I invite you to feel into your anger, which is such a taboo emotion, and ask you and your anger, what is it that it wants to build? What world and ideology and culture does it want to create? So I love you. Welcome to this week's rant. I hope that you have a fantastic week. I would love to hear how this land, good, bad, ugly. I mean, it is what it is. I hope that it stirs something in you, because that's the whole point of these, is to stir something in you. And my friends, we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye for now.